Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. And guess what? Just when you thought it was safe to look at the satellite images, the ship tracks may be coming back. If you don't know what ship tracks are, just imagine chemtrails like you see over your house, except these are 10 miles wide and several thousand miles long. I'll just bring this cover image up one more time. Yeah, that's what they look like from space. And for a very long time on this channel, I've been talking since 2010 about ship tracks and bunker fuel and how it's the dirtiest fuel imaginable and how it leads to massive chemtrails that cover the entire Pacific Ocean, let alone all of the oceans. And then along came the International Maritime Organization's ban on bunker fuel in 2020. And suddenly they were all of those, huge tankers that were bringing all of the plastic crap that, to your local Walmart from China that none of us really need, but because of globalization and because of, trans-Pacific partnerships and all of these other things, we just have to have, everything imported because guess what? We make nothing in America anymore except for, entertainment, poverty, bombs, bullets. We do that. We do a lot of that. But try finding a pair of shoes that were made in America, let alone anything else. So because globalism, because huge shipping tankers that want 7 of the largest shipping tankers on the planet produce more CO2 than all of the cars on the planet combined, because they used bunker fuel, which is this really dirty fuel that produced huge clouds that covered the ocean. It was my stance all along. This was geoengineering, whether intentional or not. I seem to lean towards the intentional part. And of course, they would say, no, you're just being paranoid. This is not geoengineering, until it was. So that's the story for tonight, and how geoengineers are now trying to bring them back. Ooh, it's going to get ugly. So if you're watching this anywhere else, please come over to @ClimateViewer on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Also available if you go over to connect.climateviewer.com. You can see my videos on BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. You can support the channel by giving a one-time donation on PayPal, Cash App, Gibson. Go buy me a coffee or sign up monthly on Patreon. We greatly appreciate it. All of these can also be found on my homepage, climateviewer.com, along with the entire history of weather control. That's right, weather modification history is on there. The timeline, 800 plus newspapers, hundreds of articles, and one of those articles, let's go. I wrote this back in 2018, and it was called Accidental Geoengineering with ship tracks and contrails. Now, of course, a lot of people didn't get it at the time, as with many of the things I do, like they're, so behind the curve. Mike's getting a PC Master Race. People didn't get it. They're like, what are you saying? Is it an accident? Yes, this, bold as the lion, this is another conspiracy that has turned fact. Just one of those things. So here we are again. One of our conspiracies have come true, and the proof is in the pudding. So I wrote this article originally for MIT's ClimateX website It became the most popular, most shared article on climatex.mit.edu. Link is right here. Has been deleted. There are no backups. Crap happens. Okay. But what I noticed was this, and this is what I want to point out. This is actually from climateviewer.org, showing some ship tracks on the Modus Terra corrected reflectance 367 band, which actually highlights ship tracks, even the invisible ones hidden inside marine stratocumulus cloud banks. So you can see them very clearly. But we had MIT University wrote this. Studies have found that ships have a net cooling effect on the planet, despite belching out nearly 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide each year. That's almost entirely because they also emit sulfur, which can scatter sunlight in the atmosphere and form or thicken clouds that reflect it away. The name of that article was "We're About to Kill a Massive Accidental Experiment in Reducing Global Warming. A forthcoming United Nations regulation will slash shipping industry pollution, but it may also speed up climate change." Now, of course, they did not want to admit that this is geoengineering. It is just an accidental experiment. I mean, we just accidentally had all these ships farting all this this sulfur into the clouds. It was an accident that these clouds were forming banks of marine stratocumulus that were keeping the planet cool. And then when they banned it because sulfur kills people, magically it became a problem. Lynn in chat says, Above Ground World News was on this all the time. My good friend Mike Morales followed me, from 2012 through when he started his channel. And if Mike were here today, Mike would tell you he learned about ship tracks and bunker fuel from this guy. And that's just the truth. I've been talking about this forever. And Mike, he would go on every single night that he did his 16-day forecast, and he would show the ship tracks. And then they started to disappear around 2020. Slowly started to taper off. Slowly started to disappear from the planet to the point now where I rarely ever catch them on satellite. You cannot make this up. However, they want them back. Think I'm kidding? The proof is in the pudding. So, MIT Technology Review having a big butt hurt about all the ship tracks disappearing because, we want this, we want this pollution to keep, Lynn says Mike loved you, Jim. And I loved Mike. Everybody knows that I love Mike. If you weren't there when Mike was in the hospital and we got the news that he was knocking on heaven's door, we all prayed for Mike that night, and I will never forget it. And I will never forget Mike. So this one's for you, Mike. The sons of bitches want the bunker fuel back. You can't make this up. So anyway, the article that I did was about how both, not just ship tracks, we'll back up real quickly. That's not the only thing that was an accident. If you actually come down here, John Neeson said, we suggest that the G20 should initiate an international project with the Manhattan Project's focus and intensity on determining the optimum strategy for keeping the planet safe for future generations by geoengineering the F out of it. And you can see right here, the United Nations International Maritime Organization announced that by 2020, international shipping vessels will have to significantly cut sulfur pollution. Specifically, ship owners must switch to fuels with no more than 0.5% sulfur content, down from the current 3.5%, or install exhaust cleaning systems to achieve the same result. And that was no, 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 no. We don't, please don't take away our sulfur. Please, we love spewing our sulfur. For those who don't know, Mount Pinatubo erupted. All of a sudden, geoengineers and especially weapons designers like Lowell Wood, Roderick Hyde, and Edward Teller at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab saw the Mount Pinatubo eruption. And they said, well, hell, we could make volcanoes ourselves by putting sulfur into the stratosphere. If the planet cools off when volcanoes shoot sulfur into the stratosphere, we can do that. All we need is sulfur. So while everybody focuses on aluminum and barium and strontium and all the other things, they had a happy hard one for the sulfur. That quickly switched to aluminum. It switched to titanium. Currently, the geoengineer's chemical of choice is calcium carbonate. Like Tums, for antacid. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But regardless, sulfur is their, weapon of choice if it weren't for the fact that it destroys the ozone layer when put into the stratosphere and it creates acid rain. I'm looking awfully peachy tonight. Is it my color? Is it because I'm wearing a white shirt that you guys can actually see my real color? Maybe I got my lighting right finally. I got my freaking mohawk all trimmed back up too, so I'm feeling particularly spicy tonight. Between that and the fact that I won't have any teeth come Friday, this one's for the record books. Back to this thing. So it's not just that. It's not just that ships are accidentally geoengineering. Oh, wait for it. What's this here? Hold on. Let's not get the Smithsonian, not get the Wayback Machine. Let's go straight to the source. Smithsonian Magazine. Airplane contrails may be creating accidental geoengineering. Accidental geoengineering. That's 2 accidents in a row. What the hell, man? We're about to kill a massive accidental experiment with ship tracks and freaking bunker fuel, and airplane contrails may be creating accidental geoengineering. Since this one's not in the details, I'm going to drop it in the chat. There you go, chat. Chew on this. But that was the title of the article. That's what the article is actually about. As you can see here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go back. So that's what I was talking about when I said accidental geoengineering. Everything's an accident. It's just an accident. I mean, planes have been doing this. Ship tracks have been seen up to 60 years ago. All of this, just an accident till it's not. Now it's not. Oops. Oops. I did it again. We stopped geoengineering and now we want it back. Oh no. So I'm going to skip to the important part of this. Termination shock. A while ago, we talked about the idea that we're already geoengineering the planet. The theory was that despite trepidation about sulfur-based geoengineering, sulfur dioxide emissions from ships added up to create a measurable cooling effect. But in 2020, we suddenly stopped. Maybe that was bad. Here was the thinking. The last bastion for high sulfur fuel was the shipping industry, which powers its vessels with the heaviest, dirtiest fuel oils out there, about 3.5% sulfur by weight. But even this is changing, with the International Marine Organization banning high sulfur fuel in 2020, aka bunker fuel. But sulfur also has an effect on the climate, cooling. Sulfur aerosols can cause clouds to become more reflective, what they call albedo, sending incremental sunlight back into space, preventing surface warming. Inspired by sulfur-rich volcanic eruptions that have temporarily cooled the planet, like that of Mount Pinatubo in 1991, sulfur aerosols are now one of the main proposals of the geoengineering community. So in an attempt to clean up fossil fuels, we've actually made them into better global warmers. We've traded an environmental problem for a climate problem. End of quote there. Well, unfortunately, it looks like the absence of sulfur is definitely having a negative effect. Here's a recent story published in Nature. In 2020, the IMO cut the amount of sulfur permitted in fuels burnt by ocean-going ships. The change intended to reduce air pollution by reducing vessel sulfur dioxide emissions. But studies have suggested that this also increased global warming because sulfur particles affect chemistry of clouds and help cool the climate. Michael Diamond at Florida State University in Tallahassee analyzed satellite data to explore clouds changes in shipping corridors in the Southeast Atlantic Ocean between 2002 and 2022. The size of atmospheric droplets, which can serve as seeds on which the clouds can form in the corridor, decreased after sulfur regulations went into effect in 2020. That meant that the clouds did not brighten as much as they would have had there been more sulfur particles in the air. The net result was less cooling than before regulations, an effect that could be happening worldwide. This article references a research paper by Michael S. Diamond from Florida State titled Detection of Large Scale, get that out of my way, whatever that button is. Detection of large scale cloud microphysical changes within a major shipping corridor after implementation of the International Maritime Organization 2020 fuel sulfur regulation. Here's a bunch of sciencey figures we're not going to cover. Anyway, so the point is, after they banned the bunker fuel, Michael Diamond publishes this paper saying, hey, I was looking at the North Atlantic, and it turns out that cloud droplet size got smaller, so we're reflecting less sunlight. And, this is something also known as marine cloud brightening. What's marine cloud brightening, you might be asking? It's this. Everybody talks about stratospheric aerosol injection. That's, where you pump chemicals, like this, where you pump chemicals up into the stratosphere. But this is a little different. Marine cloud brightening is what ship tracks do. Machines would spray salty seawater aerosol into cumulus clouds, typically 300 meters to a kilometer high. That would increase the number of water droplets, making clouds denser, reflecting more incoming sunlight, like so. However, with bunker fuel, basically burning heavy fuel oil, or what's called bunker fuel, that sulfur was doing the same thing that the Marine Cloud Brightening Project or the Silver Lining Project's boats are attempting to do with salt. They make clouds thicker and whiter. The same thing is going on with jet aircraft emissions and plane farts. They're whitening the sky. That's why the sky is milky white. So both of these are a change in albedo. It's a way to reflect sunlight into space. It makes the sky whiter. Ship tracks make the clouds whiter. Whiter is brighter, is reflecting sunlight. They believe it cools the planet. So where's your proof, Jim? It's right here. If you go to the geoengineering group that basically is founded by Ken Caldera. If you don't know who Ken Caldera is, get a friggin' clue. Well, I guess I can help you get a clue. I will go to the geoengineering page on ClimateViewer.com. I will scroll down for your viewing pleasure, and I will show you who's funding it. Oh, it's these guys. That's the Ken Caldera right there. This is the Ken Caldera. David Kiso on the left, Ken Caldera's on the right. These are the top geoengineers on the planet right here. Ben Kravitz, Alan Robach, that Ken Caldera. So Ken Caldera has a geoengineering group. It's a Google group. It's a forum. And in this Google group, other geoengineers post their latest essays, their science reports, all that kind of stuff. And interestingly enough, Dear colleagues, please comment on or make suggested edits to this draft document. Link to document. Thank you, Ron Baiman, for the bunker fuel regulation, relaxation, and maritime aerosol injection drafting group. And what does the letter say? It say this. We get rid of the side thing here. How big can I make this without really screwing it up? Open letter supporting research on urgent bunker fuel partial relaxation and or inclusion of benign tropospheric aerosols in current and future non and net zero emitting maritime fuel alternatives. On January 1st, 2020, the IMO banned the bunker fuel, blah, 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 blah. This is likely causing problems in it. Sulfur fuel content and harmful public health impacts from sulfur aerosols. However, I'm skipping a lot of this because it would bore you to tears. I do the reading. I do the reading so you don't have to. Okay, that's why I'm here. I'm not here to bring you the fear porn. I'm not here to talk about, the global depopulation or, just fill your head with a bunch of gobbledygook. Talk about science, bitches. Anyway, however, as sulfate aerosols cool the planet directly by reflecting incoming sunlight and indirectly cloud properties, these regulations may increase global warming. So what do we want to do about it? In a recent study, Michael Diamond, blah, 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 and this and that. So what we want to do, we believe that it may be possible to partially offset global warming harm of these regulations by temporarily relaxing them for high sea aerosol emissions far from population centers in ways that would not significantly harm human populations and environment and/or include benign tropospheric aerosols in existing and future non-greenhouse gas or net zero greenhouse gas emitting maritime fuels that could significantly increase direct climate cooling in the future. We therefore urgently ask the IMO, International Maritime Organization, and other international and national health and safety environmental organizations to support and sponsor research on the relative harm and benefit of partially relaxing the ban on bunker fuels on the high seas in the middle of the ocean so they can make some more damn ship tracks. Oh, God. Can I get a freaking amen? I mean, you can't get any clearer than this. You're on Ken Caldera and Andrew Lockley's freaking forum in a group saying, hey, can we bring back bunker fuel? Because we miss it. And we need more ship tracks to cool the planet. Not accident anymore. This is no longer accident. This is literally a call for geoengineering with bunker fuel straight from geoengineer scientists' mouths going, please bring it back. Now, I know there's a lot of haters out there that don't want to listen to me. I've been telling you MFers for over 10 years now. The same is true with jet fuel. Jet fuel does the same thing because it's loaded with sulfur, soot, and metals. Those sulfur, soot, and metals make the clouds that form cirrus clouds. Whether you call it a chemtrail or a contrail, once it spreads out and becomes a cirrus cloud, and then all those chemicals end up in the stratosphere, like in the infographic I'm showing you here, that's geoengineering too. This same thing will happen to the airline industry. But right now, this is all about bunker fuel. Oh, it could get worse. It could get much worse. In fact, if you go to my Patreon, and I'll show you right now, on my Patreon, which I probably should post more articles on, but the last article I posted was this, Shipping Gate. Ooh, this is an ugly one, and you're not going to like it, okay? Shipping gate. Let's see if we can get this. Pop. Go to it. Shipping gate. Why toxic VLSFO Frankenstein fuel is such a danger for the planet. So when they banned bunker fuel, you can't make this up. They banned bunker fuel and they wanted to go to biofuel. Why is this important? Because it's the same thing they're doing in the airline industry right now. They want to use biofuels for contrail control. So in this case, VLSFO stands for very low sulfur fuel oil, not heavy fuel oil. Okay? Not heavy fuel oil, not bunker fuel, very low sulfur fuel oil. But it's also been called Frankenstein fuel because it's really freaking bad. So not only have we got the poisonous Frankenstein fuel being put into all of these boats, they also are going, can we get our bunker fuel back? I mean, at least like, let's just, we'll burn the Frankenstein fuel when we're at port near LA, like right off the bay near people. But once we get out to sea, we want to be able to switch to using the bunker fuel to make the ship tracks, to cool the planet, to do the geoengineering. This is no longer conspiracy theory, people. It has been conspiracy fact for me since 2014 on. And it's just as clear as day. It's the fuel. Every time it's the fuel. Whether it's the airplanes, it's the fuel. Whether it's the ships, it's the fuel. I don't know if y'all notice, but if you go to Dane Wigington's website and you look up ship tracks, that crazy son of a bitch actually said that there was no such thing as ship tracks, that they weren't coming from ships at all. That in fact, it was the secret government program to spray the, coming out of planes, and there were no ship tracks at all. Dane Wigington. Real lot of science going on over there. This is a serious problem. And if they get their way and they bring back the ship tracks, what do you think is going to happen? More climate rebound, more termination shock, more climate chaos, more droughts for the west coast of America? Because guess what? Overseeding the sky, you only have so much water vapor. It's got attached to something. That's how every single cloud, every single drop of rain has ever been made, with a seed. If you put too many seeds up there and you overseed the Pacific Ocean, it's going to take a little while before you get enough water vapor back in there to fall on the ground. And guess what? That means California, you screwed. So this is the thing. It's a whole ass thing. It's not a half ass thing. It is a real thing. And on top of that, Andrew Lockley, who is the forum moderator of Ken Caldera's Geoengineering group. If you go back here to the Geoengineering group where I was at, you can actually see that over here on the side, it says conversations, and you can actually see all of the different geoengineering things that are going on here. Let me see if I can make this a little bit. So you got weekly summary by the Geoengineering group, shorten the solar geoengineering timeline, modest geoengineering side effects predicted by an emulator, recordings of panel discussions from RFF solar geoengineering. I mean, you guys have got to come over here. I'm going to drop the Google group in chat. Everybody bookmark this, pass it around. This is the spot where all of the geoengineers come to get down and share their stuff. And Andrew Lockley, who is he's the forum moderator. Basically, there was a point where Ken Caldera was sounding really like a shill. And I said to him after they did a public relations campaign where they were asking people what they thought about geoengineering. And Ken basically said, you know what? I believe if we would have framed the questions differently, we might have got different results. And I said, Ken, you just went from being an unbiased, you know, geoengineer scientist to a lobbyist. And for that, you know, I'll bring the tar and feathers. And that was a quote from a Silomar conference. They said that, you know, if people come to see geoengineering as a crazy, an idea cooked up by crazy Anglo-Saxons to dominate the climate, then they should all be rightfully tarred and feathered. So when I said to Ken Caldera, hey, I'm bringing the tar and feathers because you're now a lobbyist, Andrew Lockley kicked me from the geoengineering group. So I was no longer allowed to debate with the geoengineering scientists because I made a threat. Regardless, Andrew Lockley is a, you know, screaming libtard, redonkulous idiot. And he has his own Substack now. So he's now putting everything together in a little solar geoengineering updates at solar geoengineering updates on Substack, where you can see that he's just basically taking all of the headlines. The Climate Intervention Environmental Impact Fund, get in and get your geoengineering money, is deadline November 1st if you want to get some of that money, and a whole bunch of research papers. All of these are published recently. So I could literally do a video probably on every single one of these. This is the problem with what my world is, that I see all of these very sciencey papers and there's no way in hell I'm ever going to cover them all because A, they're too nerdy, but B, you know, it's just coming out. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. Okay. But anyway, this is all just latest news. So bookmark Andrew Lockley's stuff and keep up with the latest geoengineering news over there. And there'll be a whole lot. I covered climate overshoot and the CARE agenda in my last video. Interesting that that's there. And there's all kinds of stuff. Global solar radiation management technologies, a tier list. Okay. And just the list just goes on and on. Reports. Good Lord, I didn't even look at this before going live. Space mirrors, stratospheric aerosols, cloud mirrors, desert albedo, urban albedo. Whew. There's a lot here. Podcasts. Can we trust SRM papers? I'll give you an answer on that one. No! You cannot trust solar radiation management papers. Why? Because they were made up by people who plugged information into computer models, and computer models are flawed as the people who put the numbers into them. Jeez, man. You can only play hocus pocus with a video game so long before you have to go, you know, simulating reality does not equal reality. And it does not take a PhD to understand this. You do not know enough about the environment to ever model it. You can't predict the weather tomorrow. How the heck are you going to predict what the climate's going to be in 50 years, let alone what an altered, modified, heavily controlled. Oh, and then once politics gets involved, God forbid, right now, they can't get it together over in Israel and Palestine, and they've been fighting for how long? And you seem to think that if you make a magical thermometer switch where you can just tune the global temperature, that people aren't going to war over that. These people are lunatics. I'm at my wit's end with it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But feel free to read that. Links in the details. But if you're feeling lazy, there it is in the live chat. I'm sick of these geoengineer people. And to be quite honest with you, I'm also sick of all of the propaganda going on related to this whole, you know, Israel, Palestine, Hamas thing. And that's why I've literally just tuned out. Like this last, you know, week, I keep going on, you know, going to sit down. I was going to do one on this do-it-yourself geoengineering paper, which has got to be the best thing that I've read in a very long time. But I'm so pissed right now at, you know, the just straight up lies that I'm seeing related to, and there's no other way to put it, but fucking anti-Semitism that I'm seeing right now is just driving me insane. I don't give all right. the F-bomb, you know, is coming. So if you got kids in the room, turn it down, or just, I'm going to say what I got to say. Cause like I said, come Friday, I'm not going to have any teeth in the bottom of my mouth, and I'm going to be taking a nice little break while all that heals up. I am fucking sick of the propaganda going on right now. And just everywhere I look, it's nothing but, jockeying for position to try to capitalize on the pain and suffering of people. Doesn't matter whether it's here in America with our border problems. It doesn't matter whether it's, what's going on between Israel and Hamas. Like, I have literally seen people denying that, the videos that I'm watching. I watched it all live going down the moment it was going down. I mean, I was watching everything. I cannot unsee all of the videos that I've seen. None of this is actually getting shown on TV. The stuff that I saw. Okay? Because I've got links to stuff that you guys, I can't even show it, on here. I'd get banned because YouTube wouldn't allow it. Okay? But at this point, it's really obvious what's gonna happen. You got a bunch of fucking terrorists who've literally retreated to the Gaza Strip. You got Israel, who said for a week straight, get the fuck out. Anybody left will die. And I'm gonna put it to you like this. Let me know in the comments if China had a base in South Carolina and had a base in California, and for 10, 20 years was shooting rockets from South Carolina over into Atlanta, and was shooting rockets from their base in Canada into New York and LA, just bombing the shit out of LA just regularly. How long do you think we would put up with that? I mean, does anybody remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Right now, the whole world almost died over that. And that was them literally putting some crap over in Cuba. Just the threat of putting it over there. I cannot imagine being an Israeli. I cannot put myself in the shoes or the clothes or the mind of someone who lives in Palestine, in Palestinian, the Gaza Strip, whatever, any of that. I cannot understand that world because I don't live it. But I can tell you this. If somebody came in and butchered families, people I knew, and this shit had been going on as long as it has been going on, at this point, the only solution that I see as a rugged individualist, a person who believes in defending yourself and then making damn sure it doesn't happen again. When you got a bully, whenever, my personal opinion, this is just me talking. This is where my life has gone. When I see somebody bullying somebody, I break that bully and I make sure that they are so broken that they never want to bully another person ever again. I've had bullies online and I broke them. The only thing bullies understand is the boot. And at this point, anybody who's hanging out, we're long past somebody going, well, I'm just an innocent Palestinian who lives in the Gaza Strip. Yeah, I know people who went and blew themselves up. Yeah, I know people that, they're just out there building rockets, man. They just want to kill some Jews, That's let you do you. No. At this point, you're part of the problem. You need to get the hell out of there. And if it were up to me, I would bomb that motherfucker till it was glass. The Gaza Strip would be a sheet of freaking glass. And for the people that are going, oh, but what about the hostages? Well, what are you going to do? I mean, I put myself in those shoes. I said, what if my daughter was taken Well, then the best that I could hope for with those freaking animals is that a bunker buster bomb hits the place where she's at and she feels no pain. She's not raped and tortured, all the things that are going on right now. At this point, the only solution is to remove this problem. Then you've only got to worry about them on the other side. But I'm at my wit's end with this, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are stressed out about it too. And I've been, doing a little bit of educating myself on the whole history of it, just because, I'm a nerd. I want to know, and I know that I don't know enough about this to like give you guys a straight up answer of the entire history of this. But guess what? If I were in this situation that they're in now, I think that Israel has done more than enough to give them enough warning. Because every second that you let these sons of bitches plan and move and make their little, propaganda moves, and you already got the United Nations and all these other people going, oh my God, the hospital. Oh my God, people dying. Oh my God. Kill 2 million people, says Jim. No. When you live in a place 25 miles wide and you live with terrorists, your government is terrorist. Hamas is terrorist. Period. Point blank. End of story. If you try to argue with me, I'm gonna call you a dumb motherfucker. So if your government is terrorist and you have not done something to get the hell out, I don't give a fuck if you got to swim at this point. You better get out. Because at this point, there's no solutions other than scorched earth, burning rubble, goodbye Gaza Strip, that now belong to me. That's, if I were in that position, just saying, like it, love it, hate it, I don't give a fuck. This is where I'm at. I'm going to say my piece about it because I'm frustrated AF. I'm frustrated with geoengineers. This kind of shit's going on too. I've been dealing with it for, more than 15 years. Always right about it. Always right. Do I know, what's true and what's not? Can I see through, 25 miles long? And it's going to be glass. And they've already given them a week, dropping every single night saying, get out before we start. Because once we start, it's going to get real ugly. And I pray to God that the people can get out. Looks like Egypt's not even wanting to let them out. So I'm hella frustrated about that as well. Anyway, that's the end of my rant on that. And I'm gonna pray on it, and I hope to God that this doesn't go the way I know it's going to go. But this is the ugly ass world we live in. The difference is that normally I don't have to see it with my own eyes, like minute by minute as it's going down. And I try to shield my family from that sort of stuff as well, because I don't know if Israel's wanted Gaza for years, because they owned it and then they gave it to them in a peace agreement. So I'm just, like I said, not an expert on this, just gut feeling. You come in my backyard, you cut heads off of babies, you rape and torture people, you take hostages, you are a terrorist, you train children to be bombers, all of the things. There's only one way to deal with the terrorists, and that's to make them dead. And that's where I'm at. And the same is true with our southern border. I don't understand why everybody calls them cartel members and not terrorists. I don't know what the fine line in the propaganda world is between a cartel and a terrorist, because to me, they're both the same thing. Just one actually gets funded to go, people attack them. And the other one, they kind of just turn a blind eye because it's a cartel. What are you going to do? They've been around since I was a child and they're still just there. And we just call them cartels, not terrorists. this is a frustrating ass world to live in right now. And it's because there is an overwhelming amount of information coming out, rapid fire, and it's very hard to like, parse what's the truth, what's not. But what I saw personally, um, yeah, there'd be hell to pay. So that's where I feel on that. And if you don't like it, obviously you don't respect people's ability to disagree. The day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong. I could be wrong. This may all be a shit show and it might be a setup. I don't know. I don't really care at this point because it's going to happen one way or another. But what I do know is um evil is evil. And for these people who are out there, going having day of rage, parties and BLM, showing people, with hang gliders going, they're the good guys. Like I'm so at my wits end with fucking stupid American people. That's where I'm at. So hopefully the smart people will prevail. Calmer heads will prevail. At least here, over there, expect glass. That's what's going to happen. And with that being said, I'm going to be taking a small break from this. Smallish break. I've got some retooling to do. I want to rebuild ClimateViewer 3D. Got a whole bunch of really cool things I want to do with that. Um, and for those who did, donate to the Fix My Teeth Fund, I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. I had my, you know, impressions done a couple weeks ago, and my prosthetics and everything are here. They're going to be done Friday. So, not going to have any freaking teeth on the bottom row. So I will learn to speak again. It's probably, I may sound more rednecky than normal. But once I, master that, and I probably won't, because I probably will come on here sounding a little funny. But regardless, I did it the first time when I got partials. I can do it again. But yeah, guys, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so at my wit's end right now with this whole, war here, war there, war everywhere. It looks like, the freaking war hawks are trying to drum up a war with Iran. And I mean, we're, every day seems like next week could be World War III. And it's exhausting AF, you know, trying to do something about geoengineering and realizing that nobody seems to care. Um, that's just the bottom line. I mean, there will always be worse problems going on every minute of every day, it seems like. But it's a marathon, not a sprint. So this too shall pass. And it is what it is. It's fucking annoying, and it's sad, and it's heartbreaking for both sides. I mean, I don't ever want to see people die. But yeah, it is already World War III. I mean, it really is. I mean, with the whole Russia Ukraine thing, and now this, and next thing you know, something's gonna pop off with Iran, and it'll just go downhill really quick. And oatmeal for brains in the White House is, couldn't stop by Maui, but it just jumped up really quick and wants to fly to Israel. I'm too confused. I'm just too confused. So I hope that I've not confused you all so much with my little rant at the end here. But yeah, everything that I've been talking about since 2010 with the ship tracks, it's geoengineering. They admit it. They want it back. It's ironic that the United Nations was the one that took their bunker fuel away. And now the geoengineers are begging for their bunker fuel back. And nobody will even know. because they'll all be talking about how terrible everything is in the Middle East, and don't we need more money for Ukraine? And meanwhile, here in America, land of the free, home of the not so smart lately, we'll be praying that this works out. So I wish I could be more upbeat, but not feeling too upbeat right now. Oh Lord, it will. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. God, please forgive me for any of the hateful things that I just said. I know that it comes out of my human frustration and my lack of understanding and my animal appeal for vengeance. Um, please bring safety to all of those involved. Um, please minimize the loss of life and bring peace to this world because, Lord, we need it. And peace to my mind and the minds of those who I just unleashed all of my inner demons on, because I am a weak man at times when I am very mad. And mad is not good, and hate is evil. So I will respond with love and try to calm myself. Thank you, and please forgive me for being an asshole. Love you, mean it. Amen. And that's how you deal with problems. You just got to pray it away. With that being said, sometimes it's cathartic. It's just cleansing to release your inner anger to a bunch of strangers on the internet, not giving a fuck where it ends up or how it makes people feel. But at the same time, you know, I just hate seeing all this stuff. So yeah, when you guys see when I get an update on this, if there is an update on this, I will bring it up. And I'm still monitoring the skies for the next ship tarred tracks. And if I see them, of course we'll bring them up. But it does look like they're gonna be coming back soon. Um yeah. Oh, you're talking about cutting up the steak. You said Tom's saying do yourself a favor and get some scissors to cut up some steak. Yeah, I actually had a dream last night, and I got a cowboy ribeye, like bone in ribeye, and I took the bone and I cut it off and I gave it to my dog Ricky Bobby. We have a new family member. We have a little beagle, and we named him Ricky Bobby. And and he likes to shake and bake. And I threw the bone to the dog, and I took the steak and I put it inside my blender, and I blended the entire steak and then just drank it. The crazy dreams you have when you quit smoking, and just everything is just vivid dreams. Anyway, love you guys, mean it. I may be able to sneak another video in before the surgery on Friday. I did do a live stream thing with Renette Sinham last week. I was on the My Family Thinks I'm Crazy podcast. I meant to actually put a list up on a link to that on here. Yeah, he's got see if this is it. It's Mark Steves from the My Family Thinks I'm Crazy podcast. Let's see if I can find the video real quick, because I just did an interview with him and it was really good. But I meant to put that in the links as well. So I've been doing a couple things, while I wasn't making videos on here. But anyway, you can check him out over here. It's My Family Thinks I'm Crazy. I was trying to find it. Here it is. And right here, Jim Lee, ClimateViewer, The Anatomy of
My family.
Whoa, don't play music. Good Lord. Right here on myfamilythinksimcrazy.com. Y'all check him out. Subscribe to his stuff. Good friend. You guys will like him. Got a great show, great vibe. But my interview is right here. Jim Lee, ClimateViewer, The Anatomy of Slave Speak, Fixing the Sky, and the Real Life Dr. Evil. Pretty awesome interview. I think I'm going to be getting a copy of the video, and I will upload it. So it should be coming soon. I think he has it over on his rock fin. Yeah, well, I'm going to get a copy of the video, and I'll upload it. Anyway, that's enough for this evening, everybody. I hope that you've had a wonderful time. Bunker fuel, chip tracks, plane farts, always there, never going away. Hopefully we can fix it someday. But until then, please remember, attack ideas, not people. Especially like the shit going on in the police. Video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.